Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. This is Caitlin and Daniel Rodriguez, aka Mr. and Mrs. LLC, and you guys in our very special series during this pandemic called "What Are They Doing?" Who are they?
So they is actually going to be our network. We're going to bring to you guys. These individuals are in various stages of being successful because a lot of times when you're trying to take that first step, that first leap in entrepreneurship or just whatever venture you're looking to do, you're in the first beginning stages.
Right.
And you're looking at someone who's far out there, all the way out there, like a late Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan or like a Bill Gates. And they just seem so far fetched out there. But we forget about the middle stages, the people that are in the middle that are still learning and you can learn from as well. So we're gonna bring those individuals to you. So stay tuned, get your questions ready because the episode's about to start now. All right. Well, thank you for giving us, some time with y'all today, especially all the way from Houston. I know y'all were busy on the phones, even on the weekend. But really, just kind of give you. I know we talked a little bit, but just really understanding why you guys are here, right? You guys have been on a journey for a while yourselves, individually and now together. So we're excited to bring y'all on. And really, what we want to understand here is, what are you guys doing currently, right? So with today's pandemic and what we're going through, really, there's three different types of people, right, that you start to see in this time. You have those individuals that have been planning for a while, that have had an idea, a plan, and they've been working on it. There's those individuals that saw this coming a couple months ago and they just made a quick change, right? And then there's those that are still trying to figure out, and now they find themselves in the middle of this pandemic. So I know it's kind of a loaded question, and we wouldn't have brought you on for any other reason, but where would you guys say you fall in as one of those type of three people?
I think for us, we were probably the group of people that was prepared for it. We've been seeing it for the last 2 or 3 years. It's been a lot of progression and growth, and typically what goes up usually comes down. And obviously, we're not spreading doom and gloom, but you have to start preparing yourself for that. So the story between my wife and I 2 years ago when we ventured out in our own business, it was different because we didn't need to. We both had successful corporate careers, but we just always look for opportunity to understand that there's more. So it just comes from a challenge of knowing that you're born to do something great and always like pushing the needle, trying to see what it is. And so what we didn't know was that a pandemic was gonna come around in 2 years. But because we continuously improved and saw to be better than what we previously were, we're always prepared. So that's really where it comes from. I can't say I knew for a fact, but I always knew there'd be a time where we wanted to be in control of our own future. And so we started that journey 2 years ago.
So you just in there, you said my wife, that's awesome. You guys just got married, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we've been married whopping 60-some days, January 18th.
It's a great first month, right? Great first or first year test.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
right. So how have you been able to adjust? There's so many things going on. You, Erika, you have a full-time job as well, and as long as you guys working in the business together, and you just got married, right? What are some things you guys have done to adjust and still stay track with, what you guys got as far as a plan?
Yes, absolutely. So I love hybrid entrepreneurs. I'm a big fan of hybrid entrepreneurs, people that have a job, but they also have a business. It gives you a lot of freedom in your business. It takes pressure off. And I'm blessed to have a job where I enjoy it. I'm adding value. I'm educating people. As an engineer, I'm managing a $200 million marketing campaign in 5 states for one of the biggest electrical companies in America right now. So I have a lot of flexibility because I cover a big territory, and I travel, but it's nice to run a business, a national business. Our business right now is in about 18 different states. So it doesn't matter where I am. On the nights and on the weekends, after I'm, done with my full-time job, I'm able to work remotely from my cell phone, from my laptop to manage our business as well. So it's been a really smooth transition. And I think I'm just, like I said, I'm a huge advocate for hybrid entrepreneurs. A lot of people think they can't have any type of business or do anything to make their own income if they have a job. but that's the best time to do it because you have a steady income coming in. You have a little bit of wiggle room where you could take some chances. So I'm a huge advocate, especially right now. The people that still do have jobs, definitely find a way to start another stream of income.
Yeah. And to add to that, I think there's an idea that most people never explored, but it's called positive distractions. And so like everyone's like, how did you guys grow, double your business? How's the marriage? How are you staying focused? Because we have positive distractions, we have goals. So we don't have the luxury of watching the news or panicking or worrying until we hit our goals. And we're always pushing those barriers. So by the time we do that, there's the next level that we're trying to get to. And you really don't have time to be fearful. You don't have time to worry. You just have time to plan and execute. And so that's really what's been the mindset for the last 2 or 3 months.
I like that. Positive distractions, right? There's a lot of distractions nowadays, especially with like Netflix, Hulu and Chill, right? And all these individuals, all these different streamers, right? Hulu and Chill. But having those positive distractions. So I love to get into the business aspect and seeing you guys, we said a lot of things about being an entrepreneur and everything else. But before we actually dive more into what that looks like for how you guys operate, can you elaborate a little bit more on, about you guys yourselves? Like I did a very small intro of you guys being, coming from humble beginnings, and you, Erika, coming from the Midwest, and you, Chris, from here in the South. How did, these two power individuals get together to be a power couple? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, how it relates to our business. So for me, I'm from a small town called Hartwood, Georgia. Dan, you've been there. There's not much there. You got a Mexican restaurant and a Walmart. That's about it. But naturally, growing up in that environment, my parents, my whole family's been in education, so everyone teaches, and grandparents were all deacons, mothers in the church, and they all held positions of leadership, especially within the community. And so for me, naturally, because that's what I grew up seeing, I have a friendly, more relationship type of personality. And so the way that we leverage that in our business is I'm more of the one that's in charge of, building the relationships, the communications, the day-to-day point of contacts. And her growing up from Chicago is a lot more faster. She's used to a faster pace. She's used to a little more, I just say cutthroat, but you tell your story. Like,
Cutthroat.
A little bit growing up up north in Hammond, Indiana, right outside of Chicago. Katie and I grew up together ever since we were in elementary school. I remember I was always with their family. Her mom would drive me to school every day. Like, those were my best friends, her and her twin sister. And we had a lot of fun, but we are in a fast-paced environment. In the city where we were, our parents were busy. They were working. They were taking care of us, providing, an amazing opportunity for us to learn and have a nice life. But that also comes with, you've got to learn to be a little bit independent. There were a lot of the times where we're on our own. We're learning to cook. We're learning to, take care of ourselves. We're taking care of a lot of, homework, being self-starters. There's not someone there to hold our hand. So naturally, we just progressed. And that's what I really admire about your wife, Daniel, about Katie. She's such a hustler. She's a go-getter. Like, if she sets her mind to something, it's done. Like, you can consider it done. So that's kind of my mindset as well, that we got instilled up there in Hammond. Is I went to engineering school at Purdue. I came out, had a lot of knowledge on structure, on systems, and that's kind of my role in the business, is to implement systems, implement processes, and kind of take that to the next level.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, just being from an educated background and also being high relationships, like I said, for me, it's the point-to-point contacts, it's the follow-ups, it's the nurturing, because business is it's full encompassing. It's not just the bottom line that you profit. No, we're building teams, we're building relationships, and so if you want a large team, if you want to impact a lot of people, it's more than did you get the job, but it's more like, hey, how's your life? How's your marriage? How's your kids? All those type of things. And so that's kind of my day-to-day function, as well as I think she trusts me a lot with the vision, the implementing, the reading, the strategy. Like I said, she's the structure. She kind of tells me exactly how to make it work. But a lot of times, because I'm full-time, I do have more time to actually talk with other people in the company and just get ideas and brainstorm. And so it's perfect because, we're total opposites. Literally, we take a personality
Works
test.
though, that works.
Everything she's strong in, I'm weak in, and everything I'm strong in, she's weak in. But it works because everything that each of us was missing individually, now we have it collectively, and that's why our team, that's why our business is expanding. Because obviously we're not perfect, but a lot of those holes are being filled just because it's the two opposites that actually work together, and people are getting a lot of what they need at all times.
Right. All right, as you guys know, we're on live, so as questions come in, Katie's kind of looking off to the side to see if there's any questions.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it to be able to relate in that aspect to you guys, and it seems, fate has a funny way of putting us together, right? Coming down here and connecting to y'all, and realizing that our paths may align somehow is huge, right? And everything you guys are talking about, we definitely seen it with us being just that step behind, right? And understanding that what we're gonna go through as a couple is something that you guys already went through, and be able to kind of pick your guys' brain is awesome. So anyone who's here on live and maybe feeling the same thing as we're talking about these topics, definitely chime in, ask any questions. Katie will be here kind of tuning in. So if you have any questions to ask this lovely power couple right here when it comes to, marriage, even though they just, started, but they've been together and they've been building a business beforehand. So actually that's a good thing to roll into. You guys were actually starting to build this business together as you guys were dating and kind of courting each other and were engaged. So explain that dynamic a little bit. So how were you able to do it? Not only that, but you guys had some social distancing at that time too, right?
Absolutely. So for everybody who doesn't know, I was actually in Atlanta and she was in Houston. So the genesis of this business was completely remote. So the whole Zoom thing isn't new to us. We built a marriage off of Zoom. So that's how we were able to capitalize on the pandemic, because that was the nature of our relationship. And the beautiful part about doing business together with your mate, or one of the things I think that we both took away from business, is that you have to learn how to process issues fast. And so that helped us in our dating life, because a lot of times we see that when it comes to relationships, people let things fester. You're mad at such and such, or you're pissed off and you don't know how to communicate it. With us in business, we have like a 5-10 minute rule. Like, you got 5-10 minutes to be pissed off, but the fact that you have this issue, or there's an issue underlying, we have to address it. Otherwise, it's going to leak into other areas of our business and our teammates. And so that really helped us along the way to process everything. And obviously, you have your arguments, you have your fights, and we're new to all of this stuff. Our first time being married, our first time being entrepreneurs on the business. So some of it just comes with trial and error, some of it just experience. But for the most part, we have good coaches, we have good mentors, we have people in our corner who are telling us, hey, when this happens, do this, do that. And to the books that we're reading, the self-development that we're taking part of, it forces us to become better, and it forces us to address issues as they arise. So it allows us to be transparent. Like I said, it's not perfect, but when the truth is out and everybody's emptied out their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, typically it's easier to deal with at that point. So you have anything to add?
Yes, absolutely. It's crazy building not only a long distance relationship, but also trying to build a business together long distance. There's a lot of dynamics, a lot of things going on, a lot of irons in the fire. So you definitely have to balance, how am I building my relationship? How am I building my business? When do you turn it on? When do you turn it off? We had an awesome marriage counselor, one of the pastors out there that Chris attended his church in Atlanta, and he was helping us like, hey, you have to know when you're going to be a wife and a husband and when you're going to be business partners, because it's easy for it to kind of overlap. So building that digitally, like remotely, we figured it out pretty well. And now that we're able to do it together, it's paying off. So I'm excited for the future and the direction we're going.
You guys are doing absolutely wonderful. From looking from afar, and just you guys being our personal mentors as well. You guys are just absolutely wonderful. And you guys just said that it's just all new to you guys. You guys don't even show it. You guys don't show it at all. So we are super appreciative of it. We did have a question for you guys. You guys were talking about positive distractions. Can you guys give an example of one of the positive distractions that you guys have implemented?
So for us, one of the positive distractions we implemented was just reading time, you know, to send your phones down. What's the book of the month? What are we doing? What are we processing? And just read, you know. Sometimes you're stuck trying to figure out what you need to do next. And in those moments, it's like, just pick up a book. You got 5 minutes, you got 10 minutes, but don't get on social media. Like, because we're all stuck in certain parts of our day where we're like, what can I do right now? I know I should be doing something. And if you're feeling that way, obviously start making schedules, making notes. But if you have just the slightest 2-3 minutes and you have that thought, pick up a book and just read something nice. And so that's a good positive distraction. And it also fills you with good thoughts and good ideas as well.
So tell us, is it actual book that you guys are reading? You're saying Audible? What is it that you guys prefer?
For me, I prefer the physical book. I like highlighting and taking notes. I love it. Like I said, my parents are teachers, man. That's how I grew up. Like,
oh man,
dog ear and do everything. So that's what I like.
I like audios. Yeah. I like highlighting and taking notes and stuff, but it's just my my attention span is like just not there. So I like to listen to things. I like the audio. I like driving and listening to things. I like listening to things while I'm getting ready. And then like, if it like, when I hear a nugget, like I'll pause it and like write it down in my phone notes or something like, okay, I like that part. But I'm more an audio learner.
Yeah. And another thing that we just implemented because of the whole pandemic is we have a clean juice that's like maybe a quarter mile, half a mile down the road. So once a week we walk, go pick up like a acai bowl or something like that and walk back. And it literally takes us like 20-25 minutes. It's not a long walk at all. But just being able to get out, get some fresh air, walk across the street, you know, just it reminds you of being a kid again. And it frees your mind. We usually have some enlightening conversations. And it just feels good to get active and to get away from, you know, the world for a second and all the, you know, driving, the fumes of this and that. Just walk, enjoy life, get food, come back, enjoy, talk about whatever's on our mind that day, and then just move forward.
Right. Good.
Mm-hmm. So lots of things to implement when starting a business. You guys are reading, you guys are eating healthy. I mean, it's not just focusing on the business. There's other aspects that actually play into it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all encompassing.
So you did, Chris, you mentioned about mentors, right? You have a mentor, you know, in business, and you also mentioned another time you had a mentor in spiritual mentor, right? In order to, you know, kind of set you in place for getting married. So it seems like there's a common theme about having a mentor in different aspects of your life. So would you say that that's crucial, especially, you know, trying to get to that next level?
I think it's crucial in order to do it fast. So I don't necessarily think you have to, but I don't understand why you wouldn't. So I can't remember who quoted this, but they said experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't have to be your experience. And so that's why I say I think you can make it to the next level without necessarily having a mentor. But if you have people, if you see somebody and they've done the things that you want to do, why don't you just ask them exactly what it was, lay out the steps for you, what are the pitfalls, what are the things we should be worried about, what would you do next? And basically it fast tracks everything that you do. So that's what I like about our business, is because it's all about duplication. It's not about being an individual. It's not about being separate or different. It's about making it very similar, very simple. And so for me, that's one thing I've always done. That's how I got into reading, because I've always had an idea of who I wanted to be and what I want to do. And I figured that, you know, whatever I want to do, especially up to this point, it's not something that has never been done. So for those who did it, let me find out exactly what they did, why they did it. And if I can find out what helped them the most, I'm gonna implement that. If I can find out what hurt them, make sure I avoid that. And it's just me being you know, just trying to be wise, I guess. I think Picasso says good artists copy, great artists steal. So he's one of the best artists. So like, if he says it, then I probably should be trying to steal as much success as I can from as many people as I can. That makes sense.
Right.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So at what point did you realize that having that mentorship, you said you read a lot, right? You're a reader. So you definitely be able to understand you need that mentorship. When you guys were starting to, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. So you guys decided to take this leap of go into business, be entrepreneurs for yourselves. Who started that?
Chris.
So, what many people don't know is it was actually me. A lot of people think it was Erika who dragged me into it, but I actually was the opposite way around. So I for the last probably, I would say last 5 years, but honestly, since I was a kid, I've always thought about entrepreneurship. I always wanted my own business. I always wanted to make a lot of money. I always wanted to help people. So I was literally that kid that would buy candy and sell it at school or sell it at home to my parents because I know they didn't want to go out late night. So hustling the like fudge rounds and Debbie's for like 35 cents, making like 5 cents or a dime on a profit. And I've been doing that forever. Been doing it forever and doing it forever. So, and for me though, the way we got in this industry, I've always wanted to get into financial services for whatever reason. Like I said, being an entrepreneur and wanting to learn about money, I've always wanted to study it. And so I saw a great opportunity to do it about 2 years ago. And one thing I realized was that with social media, you don't have to go through all the loopholes that you used to have to do. And so for me, what kind of deterred me for many years was like, okay, typically people who get in this industry, they have a rich uncle or a rich aunt, or they come from a family full of wealth. So as soon as they graduate, get the degrees or the certifications, they have a book of business or they have a group of people they could go to right away and be successful. For me, it was like, okay, I want to do this. And obviously I can help the $1 million clients, but I want to do it in a way where I can help the middle class. And the competitive advantage for me, the great equalizer, is not going to be my current network because it wasn't there, not to that degree. My competitive advantage was going to be social media. I was going to be able to use digital formats and tools to reach more people and that way have more impact. So me doing that a couple of years ago, Erika really just saw the passion that I had for it. And you should really tell your story how what made you really jump into it. Like she knew I was going to do it. She wanted to support me, but then she has even a better story as to why she really dove into it. So
yes, I didn't. I always watched him, grow his different businesses, not just in financial services. He has different businesses in marketing, apparel that he does with his family too. So I just watched him be this business person, and the whole concept was foreign to me. Like, I'm the typical go to school, get straight A's in college at the top engineering school in America, graduate as a mechanical engineer. I got into a sales, role. I'm working for a big, sexy Fortune 500 company. I'm climbing the corporate ladder really fast. Like, that's my track. That's who I am. And then he kept telling me about business and I have this idea and I'm meeting with this client and he's up late, like doing these things for his business. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, you have a job at a really good company. Stop talking to me about that. Shouldn't you be like trying to talk to your boss about how can you move to the next promotion? How can you get a raise? How can you get to the next level? Like, why are you wasting your time with all this silly stuff? Like, you're doing a lot of work for a little bit of payment. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Go into your job and figure out, how do I get to the next level in my job? And he kept on like saying this stuff about all his businesses. And I'm just like, man. And then recently, like 2 years ago, when I realized like, okay, this is somebody that I do want to spend my life with, clearly I'm going to have to get on the same page. I've got to learn a little bit more about what the heck he's doing. So I started trying to help, with his website, do little things here and there. And then we went to our company convention and I saw my mentor at the time, who I never thought I would meet in a million years. I saw her on stage and she was speaking to the crowd. And she said the way she got involved with her husband in business is because she saw the passion her husband had for the company, for the business, for the vision, what they were going to do. And she told herself, she said, it's going to be either me or this business. So I better get on board with him and what he's doing. And I was like, I looked at him because we were sitting in the audience next to each other. I was like, that's true.
Right.
I better get on board and figure this thing out, because I mean, the support between the husband and wives, I'm realizing it's not there. Like, I'm meeting couple after couple after couple, and they're on two totally different pages. The wife doesn't want anything to do with what the husband wants to do. The husband has a great idea. The wife doesn't want to support it, and vice versa. And I'm like, you've got to both make sacrifices, and you have to both be on the same page to do something great for your family. So I decided to get involved with him. I started learning this business thing, and then I took it to the next level, and we're about to dominate the entire industry. Long story short.
The best part about it all, though, our decisions were made out of inspiration, not desperation. Like she said, she has a good corporate job. I had a good corporate position, making decent money. And, you know, we could have literally just settled in doing that for the rest of our lives, moved up the corporate ladder, probably made it to $250,000, you know, $300,000 collectively, and, you know, lived a very comfortable life. But she latched on to my vision, which I appreciate, and she created her own. And like she said, it's taken everything that I would have hoped and imagined and dreamed for, and multiplied it tenfold at least, and now we're seeing 100-fold, because we finally see the impact that we can have. Like I said, it was an inspiring idea, but you never really know what's going to come from it. And each week, each month, now we're starting to see more and more of the reasons why we do this. Because when we sat down with some of our mentors, they asked us, like, why are you doing this? Like, you guys are sharp. You could go back to corporate and make a $250,000 together. Like, you could. But for us, it wasn't about the money. It's about the impact that we could have. And so that was the idea behind it all. We felt like where we were, we couldn't. I mean, I guess you could touch as many people, but we just didn't necessarily feel called to it. And so we just answered the call, and we continue to answer the call. And hopefully we do it in a way that's pleasing to our Lord and Savior. So that's the mindset behind it all.
Okay. So then now that you guys kind of talk about how you got started, and I keep on hearing this reoccurring thing of mentors, like reaching out to different people. So would you say then, because you guys are a couple of steps and you bring people on as a team, right? You're mentoring people. You guys are all around talking to people and bring up to the next level, and you're steadily trying to get to the next level. So would you say the best, I guess, advice to the person who's just getting started, especially right now in the pandemic, people who are just trying to figure it out, people who did follow that route, right, Erika, where they depended solely on their jobs and they weren't lucky to where they still have them right now? People are getting laid off. I mean, I saw a post from you guys, was it close to 10 million unemployed individuals this entire time. What would you say is crucial for those individuals to speed up the process in order to make a change now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say they have to, unfortunately, if they've already gotten laid off, it's kind of time to make a really big decision about how are they going to fix it. If you're not laid off yet, make a decision out of inspiration, and don't wait. You know, one of my mentors, he told me a lot of people make decisions, like Chris said, out of desperation. You know, you don't wait. You don't decide to eat healthy or go to the gym until you're 400 pounds. You don't decide to bring your wife flowers until she's out the door. She's done with you. Like, why can't you appreciate what you have, like, now? So it's the same thing. Don't wait until you're fired, you're laid off, to start a different stream of income. Do it now while you're comfortable, because that job might not always be guaranteed. But for those 10 million people that filed for unemployment in the past 2 weeks, which is insane, people are realizing, everybody always tells me, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. Well, 10 million people just realized that neither is 9 to 5. And so they've got to figure something out. I would just, like, they're already scared, right? People are already scared. So think logically about, what are your options? No one's hiring right now. Like, you're not going to go get another job. So you have to make an investment monetarily and with your time to figure out how you're going to get this thing back up. So I would say, go ahead and, study an industry. What industry do you want to get in? What industry makes sense right now? What industry is busy? Because while industries are laying people off, we're here in Houston, oil and gas is insane. We saw a company that we know, a friend used to work at. When he quit his job 2 years ago, this company's stock was trading for $36 per share. And today it's 36 cents. So, like, oil and gas, forget about it. You've got to get into an industry. And our industry, we've never been this busy. We had a record-breaking month last month in March, in the middle of the pandemic. While everyone's getting fired, everyone's getting their hours cut, we awarded our team members, they got bonuses, they got promotions, they got raises, they got cash prizes. Like, March was insane, and April's going to be even better. So our industry is getting busier now because of this versus less busy. We need more help. So I would definitely encourage them to find out what industry is actually doing well right now, get involved no matter what it takes, no matter how much money they have to put down up front, and then get a really good mentor to help them make that payoff come back.
Right. So what type of, you said that there's monetary and time. Obviously right now we have a lot of time, right? A lot of us, if you're unemployed, then definitely you have a lot of time. But let's just say you have a couple of jobs, but some of them are working from home. Say like Katie, who's an accountant, right? She worked from home. So our business, we're able to build virtually as well. So I guess the question really is, the monetary, people say, well, monetary, why do I have to invest monetary? What exactly does that mean? Does it mean I have to, pay for a special class, or like, so is it a class you're talking about monetary? Or are you talking about licenses? Are you talking about learning material? Like what type of monetary investment are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so it goes back to the whole premise of sowing and reaping, right? If you want something, if you want to receive something, then you probably should give it. And that's how we look at our investments. I mean, we take money and we invest it in ourselves, we invest in our business, and we invest in our teams. And so to think that you're going to receive a lot and not give a lot is against, I just think it's against nature, honestly. I understand that's an oxymoron, but for whatever reason, I didn't write the laws, but it seems those who tend to be the most givers usually are in position to receive a lot. So for us, we're always looking at ways to improve our skill set. Honestly, we only get paid for the value we bring to the marketplace. And so if you're doing something that everyone can do, then you'll never be highly paid. Because if you decide to leave one day, well, I can train somebody to do exactly what you do.
Right.
And for us in the insurance and financial services industry, one of our barriers is getting a license. And I'll be the first to tell you, it's not even that difficult to get. But most people get turned off at the idea of having to, take another class or invest in themselves to get a license. And so therefore, there's not as many agents as there should be. Well, I'm not necessarily complaining. We're definitely hiring. We're looking for agents. But because there's a lot of people who are afraid to take 100 question test that takes a week to study for, and it allows us to be more lucrative. And so what you have to think about is there's a lot of industries who have little barriers like that you can enter. So you have insurance, financial services, you have taxes, you have certain IT certifications. There's a lot of needs-based businesses right now. And yes, it's going to require you to do something differently. Otherwise, you're going to get paid the same. You're going to get treated the same. But if you just take one little step or a couple steps to separate yourself, that's where the pay grade comes into place. That's where you become, recession proof. And that's what we're all about. Hey, keep your job, but also develop a skill that says, no matter what, somebody will see this as value and someone can use it at all times.
Yes. And I would add that people are always asking, what do I invest in? What should I invest my money in? Should I buy real estate? Should I buy stocks? Should I buy, what should I invest my money in? There will never be a better investment than you. You have to bet on yourself. You have to pour into yourself. You have to invest in books. You have to read. You have to feed your mind. You have to invest in, yourself. You have to, if you have a team, if you're a leader, if you have an office, you have to invest in your team. You have to help them grow. You can have anything you want in the world if you help enough people get what they want, right? And so I that's like right now, there's no better time to invest in yourself, even though it's a little bit scary. I just met with a lady earlier today and she was like, I made an investment. I started my own business, even though all this chaotic financial stuff is going on right now in the economy. But I did it because the decisions that I've been making up until this point got me to this point, and I'm not happy with where I am. And I said, well, you're going to have to make some different type of decisions to get to somewhere else. So this is definitely a time where you have big faith and you bet on yourself and you go make some things happen so your family doesn't have to be in a bad position.
Yeah, and I think to piggyback on what she was saying is, I think rich people and poor people think differently. Poor people look at this money that they're spending, and from what I've noticed from the wealthy people that I've had a chance to hang out with, they see it as them investing in themselves. And that's what she just piggybacked off of. So when I got my license, I didn't think about what I was spending to get a license. I was thinking about the opportunity that I was giving myself. That was the only thought process. When we went to Vegas for a big event 2 years ago, it wasn't like, man, how much is this going to cost me? It was a chance for the girl that I was dating at the time to get a full view of what our company is and to hear something from somebody that may change her life. And that's exactly what happened. But if I was worried about the cost, who knows what happened? We may not win. But the fact that I knew that I could go there and I could hear one thing and she could hear one thing that could change our lives forever, it was worth that, for me at least. And it was worth it for her. And so when we invest in ourselves, obviously there's a million things out there. You could, like I said, invest in real estate, Bitcoin, insurance, all kind of industries. But the idea is this: are you investing in yourself first? Don't just buy another course because you saw somebody else made big on it. Like, no, you have to think about where you are in your life and what you're willing to commit to. Invest in that first. And then from there, your mind will open up and you'll start having all kind of ideas. And then money and opportunities just begin to fall in your lap.
Awesome.
Love it.
Were there any questions on the live?
Yep. So I do have a question for Chris. I guess for both of you guys. So Chris kind of talked about how he always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Did you have an example in your life where you saw someone as an entrepreneur? And then same for you, Erika. You know, I know that Chris was a big inspiration on becoming an entrepreneur, but who else that you saw, you're like, hey, I think I really can be this person?
So I got a small taste of entrepreneurship as a kid. Like I said, my granddad, he was a carpenter. So he had his own shop, he built cabinets, and he also had a landscaping business. So just seeing him, you know, having to go negotiate and get his own contracts and his own deals, I got a taste of that. And two, what really turned me on to entrepreneurship is, as a kid, I always knew that he showed me the positive relationship to work as well as, you know, how you receive income. So I would call him on Saturdays, hey, you know, I would tell him I want some new shoes. And he would say, you know, you got to work for it. And I would ask, like, what do you got for me? And he always said, I can come up with something. I'll find something. And so that was a positive correlation to entrepreneurship for me, because he basically told me, you know, if you're willing to work for something, you can always get it. And so there were times where he really didn't even have anything for me to do, but he just wanted me in the shop learning from him. You know, I sweep, I sand, I do little things. But I could tell as I got older, and now when I look back, I'm like, okay, basically all he was just trying to teach me was, I just want you around to see that there's a correlation to working hard and being willing and to get an income from it. So that's how I started selling candy. That's how I started selling, you know, little knick-knack things across from my house, because I realized that if you want to get something, you can sell it, you can work, you can do this, you can do that. You can create opportunities for yourself. And so that shaped my life, and I didn't even know it until probably a couple of years ago.
Awesome. Any other questions they have in there?
Yep. And then Erika, I know that we got some inspiration from Chris. I know personally for Daniel and I, we saw some entrepreneurs. I didn't really see too many growing up. My mom is a big entrepreneur, but besides of her, I never saw someone, you know, else besides that. You know, who did you see that you could have correlated for your personal self?
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't a super, like, it's hard to think about because I never saw anybody doing anything like we're doing, like the four of us, which is unfortunate. That's why we want to be that staple, go back to Hammond, Indiana, go back to Georgia, like, you know, put our cities on, like show them what's possible. But for me, my parents, they actually were real estate investors for years, for a long time, ever since I was little. It was a little bit more negative for me though, because if you're going to be a real estate investor, if you don't have a team like of people, if you don't have hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars on hand to just hire a team to go in and HGTV it, you know, then and now, and, you know, do all that magic so that they can flip it really quick in a couple of weeks, in a month or two. It's just, it can be stressful. So I watched my parents, you know, invest in these properties, and they would put their team together, but they'd be doing a lot of the work themselves as well to fix them up, to flip them. Right. You know, they made financial profits and everything. We were always well taken care of, but I did always see them away. They were always at the houses. They were always working. You know, sometimes that lack of family time, that's kind of what I equated to even any type of entrepreneurship. I'm like, well, if you're going to try to do something for yourself, it must be time taxing. It must be, you know, high stress. You must have to put a bunch of money. You must need hundreds of thousands of dollars up front to be able to buy something like this to make a profit. So I didn't understand that you could make a really, really small, like $100, $500 investment and start making hundreds of thousands, start making millions. Like, that was a foreign concept to me. So I was really appreciative when Chris, you know, his you know, creative mind started exploring options, and he found this for us so that we can be franchise owners, so that we can be brokers, you know, for our own business, very small, little minimal investment, but we're, you know, able to make a lot of money back.
We definitely want to say congratulations on your guys' success so far. So it's definitely different. It's very different, like you were talking about, than what people have this in their mind of what entrepreneurship is, and how there are different options out there.
Yeah. And for me, it's like she just said, the creative mind. Like, I'm one of those people, if I think about something that I want to do, I'll do it, you know. And what I've realized is the education system, or sometimes the structure that we have, it's not always the best because we create barriers for ourselves. You know, you tell yourself that you can't be a broker. Like, you should have went to college for that, and you have to do this, you have to do that, or you can't help middle income families. There's not enough money there. You know, they're not going to pay you. They're going to cancel their premiums, this and that. And that's a myth that most people believe. So they go through all these other alternate routes to create whatever reality they want to, not realizing that if you just focus on what you want, it's there. And so I'm kind of pissed at myself because what I'm doing now, I could have done 10 years ago. But
Right.
I was thinking that, you know, I had to do all these other things in order to be here. And it's not true. And I'm not pissed because all my experience shapes me to get here. But
Right.
really, it's just a creative mind knowing who I want to help. And I went to a lot of the big firms. I interviewed with them. I talked with them. I had dinner with them. And their vision wasn't my vision. So it was like, either you fall in line with what they want or you create what you want. And that's exactly how my mind works. It's like, okay, why not create it? There's a need. I've already identified that there's a need there. So what else do I need? You know, that's the only thing you need to know, that there's a need, there's a demand for that. Now you just create the systems, the structures, and you just have to have the courage to believe in what you saw, the vision that you had.
Right.
That's awesome. So I want to share something with you guys real quick. I don't know if you remember taking this. It was actually about a year ago.
I do not. Whatever it is.
You see it?
Yes.
Yes. Geez,
Yes.
that's a year ago. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
A year
April
ago in
3rd.
2 days.
Like, literally.
April 3rd.
And I remember what was going on around that time too.
Man.
Yeah.
and
So
you
what were
guys-
your guys' mindsets then?
For me, my brother got married that weekend before, so that's why she was in town. We drove up from Savannah, but we had a director promotion going on in April, and that's what my mind was completely focused on, him director that month. And I had missed it a time or two, and I was like, I cannot afford to miss it again. And so my mind was just making sure that I was able to hit that mark, because like I said, had I not made it then, I don't know. I doubt if I would have quit just because it's not my nature, but I might have, because that was that important to me at that time. And so, yeah, my face looked a little stretched right there. And that's
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I was excited during this time, preparing for a lot to come for the summer. The next month, we were going to Dallas to hang out at the Cowboy Stadium. Like, there was a lot of things going on. But I'm just looking at you guys. Like, you guys are brand new with us, barely starting, and to see you now in your growth and your leadership, the business you've built for your family, the legacy you're creating, it's insane just to see your confidence. Like, the way I hear Katie speaking, the questions she asks, I'm like, who are you? Like, that's what mentorship does for you. That's what mentorship, that's what reading does for you. It takes you and it puts you in this machine. And when you get out of the machine, you're a totally different person. You're confident, you're poised, you have, you can assert yourself. You just know what you're talking about. And I like this picture because I love to see the growth in you guys in the past 12 months. It's night and day.
It is completely, like, just to go through it and just to add on what you guys are saying, like, just to quote it, we're building businesses, inviting you to help do it. Are you ready to go to the top with us? Where will you be at the end of 2019? So it's crazy. Like, it's 1 year away. And the fact that it just shows, everything you guys are talking about, having mentors, building that confidence, finding the next person and to elevate you. Maybe you don't know what to do, right? But if you grab the coattails of someone that's already doing something, you're going to get something out of it. So it's awesome to be able to follow you guys' tracks on there. One of the last kind of questions we want to ask is, as you look at this picture and realize, you guys kind of recapped of how you were feeling in that moment, from there to now, what would you say are the top 3 things that has changed for you guys since then?
I know for me, off the top, my identity is steadily growing. So I've never been, because I grew up around a family full of educators, I've never had like low self-esteem and low confidence, but I did realize there were certain areas in my life that I lacked the confidence needed to succeed in this business. So Right now, a lot of what I'm reading is strategy, but mostly it's how do you improve the way you see yourself and how you feel about yourself. And right now, I'm more confident because I'm thrusting myself in leadership positions where I'm being asked to lead, being asked to speak, and to do things. And it's not like I've never done it before. It's just that it had been so long and I grown a little stale, a little jaded. But now, looking at this picture, I can definitely say, you know what, I feel more confident about who I am and where I'm going. And two is increased clarity. Like, it's hard to hit targets that you don't have. Like, you need to know where it is that you're trying to go. Like I said, because if you figure that out, it's easy to identify other people who've done it, or it's easy to roadmap it, you know. But imagine saying that you're going to take a road trip to anywhere, and yet you never looked at a map. I'm just going to get in the car and I'm going to drive, you know. And so you guys are in Georgia. Imagine going to, say you're going to Florida, but you go up north, interstate north, right? Like, that would be the dumbest thing you could ever do. You'll never get there. And a lot of times when it comes to business and life, that's exactly what we do. We say, I want to change. And but we never identify where it is, where we want to change or where we want to go. And we'll start making moves. We'll do something just to act, you know, just to make ourselves feel better. But at some point, you need to nail down where it is that you want to go, what it is that you want to do. And once you get clarity, man, everything else begins to open up. Everything else makes more sense. And all the things that don't matter, they fade away very quickly.
Yeah, I would say in this picture a year ago, where my mind was me being an entrepreneur, was myself being an entrepreneur by myself. Like, this is about me. I'm going to figure out how I can be an entrepreneur. And in the past year, night and day shift to versus me being an entrepreneur and figuring this thing out, actually taking what I've learned and helping other people become an entrepreneur as well. Because, I mean, it's not about what you can do. It's about how many people you take with you, how many people you help. So I think in this picture, it was more all about me and focusing on how can I develop, how can I grow? And then I realized I have a lot of gifts that I can share with people to help them grow. So I started bringing people along with me, you know, sharing the opportunity of entrepreneurship with other people. And if they make that leap of faith, they need a mentor. So kind of stepping into that gap to be their mentor, help them achieve what I've achieved. So that's kind of my switch.
Yeah, and I think collectively that's our switch, especially right now. The whole leadership thing. It's like I said, we've all been captains of our sports team and this and that. We've all held leadership positions, but you're starting to realize the people in the real world that makes the biggest difference are the leaders. And usually they're not more skilled or more talented. It's just that they assume that responsibility and they do their best to help as many people be like them and be better than them. So that's where we are right now, and that's where we'll be for the rest of our lives, because we understand that it pays the most, but more importantly, it impacts the most. So, yeah. But my question for you guys, what were you thinking in this picture? What were you guys at? What was your headspace?
Man.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Go ahead. You want to go first?
So when I was kind of introduced to this business through Erika, and we got to meet Chris, I think from our mindset of being a couple, it was definitely a breath of fresh air to see that there are other people like us out there doing what it is that we want to do. Before this, me and Daniel were heavily into wanting to get into real estate. We had a investment property already, and we were working on our second investment property actually. And you know, thank God we and went to another direction because of what that actually means, and taking all of that in, kind of like how you were talking about with your parents, Erika, and take that all in. Now that's still our dream, and we're still very much wanting to do that. But I think at this time it was just getting introduced to something else out there that to where we could have that foundation and that backup. And we were never to that point. We always did everything ourselves, and we were very successful ourselves. And so we have understanding that there's other people out there that were similar, and that there was something that we could follow back on, and to ask the questions. It was huge to us at this moment. I think we were super just excited and wanted to get started, and we just started running at that point.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of add on to it, pretty much what Kay was saying about on the real estate side, but just I guess mentally, I guess one of the reasons why we're starting to do this and staying true to, hey, you know, asking not necessarily for help, but asking for advice, you know, because me personally, I'm very much of an individual who likes to do things myself. Like I feel, you know, like you, Erica, like very independent, right? And
Yeah.
very technical engineer. Like sometimes I kind of have a big head, right? Where to the point where I feel like I'm the smartest person in the room, and that's the old me, right? And I feel like I always knew what I needed to do. I didn't want to listen to anyone. In this aspect, really opening up and softening those thoughts and really listening to what other people had to pour into me and being humble enough to ask for help. And, you know, kind of on the flip side, how Chris was introduced you to this business, Katie introduced me into the business you because I was very hard-headed. I was like, no, we're doing real estate. We're doing this. And if it wasn't for that deal in the real estate going sour and we backing out of it, I don't know if we would be here today, right? And it just kind of happened, and it just kind of opened up my eyes. I was like, you know what? Let's hear what these people got to say. And I'm like, okay, it's your friend Erica from school. Got it. Well, let's at least meet the people, right? We sat down and we met with, you know, Richard, Monique here in Georgia, and you being able to come and talk to us and do a one-on-one and just really show us what it is. I'm like, wow, okay. There is more. And if I just was to ask more help, it's kind of like how you, Chris, you said, man, I wish I knew 10 years ago, right? I wish I knew before actually going to school and not wasting, but, you know, 5 years of my life in college, right? Like if I showed you where my diploma is right now, it's in not even the closet, it's in the utility shack with the air conditioning on the bottom.
It's the same with me. I gave it to my mom. I said, I know you wanted it, so here you go. Like,
right.
It was nice for me, but like you wanted it more than I did, so you can have it. And I don't use it.
Exactly. I'm like, man, who knew I was gonna go to engineering and come out in sales, right? So it's
crazy. You guys are doing an awesome job at it, by the way. Super proud. I mean, I love that you brought this picture. You guys are doing amazing. We're so happy to have you in the team.
And just to, you know, piggyback off what you just said, I think not fear, but I think pride is one of the biggest things that keeps people from being an entrepreneur, because a lot, especially part-time, because most of us have a career. You know, we have something that we're good at, we're established. And when you transition into a whole nother skill set, a whole nother industry, you're starting over again. You're a novice. It's like going to kindergarten, right? And so like, I know insurance, but if I was to get in mechanics or something like that, or engineering, I would literally be in kindergarten of engineering, you know? And most people are not willing to subject themselves of the first day of school feeling and asking a peer or asking a teacher and learning. And I think if you can have that childlike mindset where you're always developing and learning, like I said, it comes with creativity. If you can keep that open and swallow your pride and be willing to learn more things, you'll be more open to recognize more opportunities as well as taking them. And so I'm glad that you were able to do that, Daniel, because I know you personally. I know it. It probably was a challenge for you, but I mean, you've done a good job at transitioning. And just like every other aspect in your life, you become a leader in this industry as well. So I'm super excited.
I'm excited for y'all. One last thing though, before we let you guys go, because I know you guys are busy, got a lot of appointments going on this afternoon. If you were to sum it down to one thing, one action that was above all in the last year since taking this picture, what would you think? What would that action or whatever it is that you feel like was important was to help you get from this to now?
You got it.
So one action, I would say, it's two words, but personal development, personal/professional development, whether it's reading, whether it's going to seminars, whether it's going to conferences, leadership conferences, going to different trainings available in your industry. I would just say the one action I took was really just being obsessed about personal development and really hitting it hard, taking advantage of every training, every opportunity to be with my mentors, every video I can watch just to get better at my skills and to become a better leader, so that when those people that are looking for an opportunity find me or I find them, that I'm in a good position to be able to help them have the success that I'm experiencing. So I would say the main focus I've been developing on is personal development.
Personal development for me, I probably would say, I'm thinking just discipline, like consistency, because it's the thing I've struggled with my whole life, you know. And for me, just for me and my personal experience, sometimes I get some early wins and I celebrate more often than I should, or you know, you get down on yourself when you lose. And for me, it was just like discipline and just constant progression. And the only way that you constantly progress is just being consistent every single day. So not getting too high, not getting too low, just being even keel and understanding that the people that are in front of you are the people that are better than you. They probably are going to celebrate. And so when they celebrate, you just stay consistent, you'll catch up. And also understanding that the people that are, you know, quote unquote behind you in your business and your industry, understand that they're hungry and they're waiting for you to have that moment of celebration or weakness and vulnerability. And so, you know, it is a race, you know, we're trying to get to the top as soon as we can, but with us, it's more about progression, not perfection. And so just make sure that we're taking that step every single day. And that's all discipline and consistency. So.
Awesome.
Love it. Well, we definitely want to say thank you once again. We don't want to take up too much more of your time, but thank you so much for joining us here today. You guys dropped a lot of nuggets, so I hope that anyone that was on, if you guys have any questions, can you guys tell us how to reach out to you guys?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on Facebook. It's Chris Blake Cobb, and phone number if you want it, 706-436-6354.
Yes, and mine is Erika, Erika Cobb, Cobb, and my phone number is 404-307-1861. And to you guys, Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez, thank you for inviting us. This is an honor.
Yes.
Anything we can do to support you guys. You're an amazing couple, amazing leaders. We're so blessed to have you in our lives, and I'm excited to see what we're about to do in 2020.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. It was so much fun.
Absolutely. And after the social distancing, man, I come see you guys.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Please.
Come out here.